Welcome to a new edition of VR News. Today's headlines. Lynx-R1 price increased to $1,300. The producers justified it. It's a vintage headset, so it's worth more. Quest 3 will have exclusive improved version of some games. Here's what they are. Quest 3 will sell less than expected. According to an estimate by a PSVR 2 owner... sorry, there must be a mistake. Hello? Oh, okay. I've just been informed that it's an analyst from the distribution chain. Details in today's news. Skydance postponed Behemoth to the end of 2024. We'll have to wait, but it will be worth it. Quest 3 is all about mixed reality, but John Carmak is not convinced. Well, who cares? Someone remind Carmak that he doesn't work for Meta anymore. Espire 2 gets a free mixed reality update. You can carry out secret missions at home. Terrorists will use the real cover of your environment. PCVR is not dead. The PC version of Espire 1 is receiving the same updates as the Quest version. The two versions are now on par. Demeo Battles will be available with a demo during the Steam Fest. In flat version, the VR Nazis. We won't buy it anymore. Vertical Robot drops the bomb. Red Matter 2 on Quest 3 will have console quality graphics. Console owners, what do I do with the cable now? I have an idea. Golf Plus shows up with an improved version on Quest 3. The realistic look missing from this game has finally arrived, thanks to the new Meta headset. Hey Riffraff, welcome back to this new edition of the week's top news. As always, before we start, let me thank the support of the week, Dario, Loris and Christian, and I thank everyone who contributed during the last live streaming with some doublons. Thanks for the support and generosity. I also thanks all those who subscribe to the channel, watch the video all the way through, share and comment. Now, let's get started with the news. Lynx-R1 is a mixed reality headset specifically for business use that was supposed to hit the market in April 2022, but it has continuously delayed for various reasons. At one point there were enough resources to mass produce it, that the screen had some issues, then the pass-through was defective and there were software problems. In short, it's an announced failure that has never even reached all those who supported the Kickstarter campaign and therefore have already paid to get this headset. But the most absurd thing about this headset is that not only it's already outdated with its XR2 Gen 1 chipset and its 1600 per 1600 panels, but the manufacturer decided to increase the price from $850 to $1,300. The headset is intended only for business use, thanks to its color pass-through and hand tracking, but how can you compete now with the Quest 3 that does the same thing you offer but much better and with more power at 1/3 of the cost? And that's not all. That's who already pre-ordered the headset for $850 won't have to pay any extra, but there's just a tiny problem. The manufacturer claims that the first shipment of Lynx-R1 will occur in the third quarter of 2024 and that the first model shipped will have a microphone problem that might not work and structural damage to the front plate, but if the buyer wants, they can request a free replacement. Please tell me this is a joke and that this company is not this incompetent. There is a long list of games for Quest 2 that are receiving a graphic update to be better appreciated on Quest 3. But which are these games? So, Drop Dead Dual Strike, developed by Soul Assembly, first released even on Quest 1. Its sequel, Drop Dead The Cabin, that will receive a mixed reality update for Quest 3, letting horde of zombies invade your home. Espire 2, with a free update, coming on October 10, will offer a mixed reality mode, allowing you to do some missions inside your own home. Yeah, you heard it right, you will have terrorists inside your house. That's not all, because in addition to the mixed reality mode, Espire 2 will receive an improved version for Quest 3. On October 12, Golf Plus will finally get the extra touch of realism it was missing to make it the perfect golf game. So far, the only advantage advantage that another great Golf game, Golf 5, had over Golf Plus was the graphic. This until Golf 5 will also receive an improved version. Guardian Frontlines, we could call the Halo in VR, is about to get an upgrade on Quest 3 that I'm already testing. And according to the developers, this update will make it incredibly close to the PC version. Well, not that it took much, but one of the most impressive is Hubris, which in its improved version for Quest 3 displays truly spectacular effects thanks to the graphic chipset of Quest 3. It was possible to increase the resolution from 980 per 1152 to 2064 per 2208, improve the quality of the texture, foliage density, and overall detail level. Guys, I've been confident about Quest 3 for a while now, and I always said that maybe this was the time we could put our PCs aside. And judging by what the developers are doing with these improved versions, maybe that's the case. Vertical Robot doesn't give up and continue to push the limit of Red Matter 2 by releasing an improved version for Quest 3 with higher rendering resolution, increased frame rate, dynamic shadow with console quality filters, and 4K textures. Realize, guys, we are talking about 4K in standalone. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Retribution will receive an improved version for Quest 3, although there's no release date yet, but we have this footage that already showed all the improvements made, and it looked like the PSVR 2 version. And finally, Zenith The Lost City. Starting from October 10, will release a free update that significantly improved the graphic of this MMORPG. These were the most important ones, but there are dozens of other games that will receive their improved version for Quest 3, including Apex Construct, Broken Edge, Daisy, Gazzlers, Loreplan 2, Bring Travelers, Among Us, A Township Tale, Barbaria, Beat Saber, Blade and Sorcery Nova, Budget Cuts Ultimate, Job Simulator, Pixel Ripped 1978, Population 1, TOS, We Are 1, Wildlands 2, and many others. I've only mentioned the most important ones because there are over 100 games that will have improved version for Quest 3. Despite all those who say
PSVR 2 has the best launch lineup ever.
Now, speaking of PSVR 2, someone needs to explain me why, if PSVR 2 sells 650,000 units in 6 months, and for some it's a great result after Sony predicted to sell 1 million units in the first month, why you all railing against Meta? Because an analyst from the other side of the world, probably part of the competition boasting ridiculous numbers, says that Meta apparently maybe, my cousins say that they are cutting production for 7 million units by 2023 to only 2.5 million units in the same period. First of all, if it were true that Meta had planned 7 million units by 2023, well, maybe they drank too much. Even if we're talking about a company that sold 25 million units in 3 years. But are you really laughing at Meta because they plan to sell 2.5 million units by the end of 2023? Hey there, we're almost mid-October, that's in 2.5 months. And anyway, it will be more than what PSVR 2 has done in more than 6 months, which still hasn't reached 1 million units. So why laughing to Meta when you just need to go to Amazon to realize that in the last month PSVR 2 has sold fewer units even compared to Quest 2, a headset that's 3 years older. And if we look at the sale of the Quest 3, the 128GB version has already sold over 900 units only in our market, while the 512GB version is already sold out. And to top it off, I would like to remind you that the data of this alleged analyst cannot be verified anywhere. Meta has already denied it, and as often happened, even Bloomberg, the most credible among analysts, says a lot of nonsense. You want real data? These are ones I'm showing you right now. Ciao. Behemoth changed its name and becomes Skydance Behemoth, and the release date is postponed from the end of 2023 to the end of 2024. At the moment, we still have the same old CGI trailer that doesn't show anything from the actual game, but if it's Skydance and they've decided to postpone it so much, it can only be a good news, because it means that they decide to do a significant changes. Seems some developers can't put together a complete game in a year. So keep following for further updates on Skydance Behemoth. Everyone against Meta Quest 3, even John Carmak, former CDO of Oculus, who isn't very convinced about the mixed reality feature of the new headset. The reason, according to him, a VR headset should only do that, while the mixed reality function should be performed by glasses designed and built just for that purpose. John Carmak, okay, is the father of VR and has the technical knowledge to build the headset of his dream. So I wonder, instead of bashing Meta, why don't you build your own and try to compete with them? And remember that Quest 3 is entering the market as mixed reality headset and not as VR, so it can do both. And in fact, Meta is pushing more on mixed reality function with unprecedented color pass-through and depth sensor. Starting from October 10, Espire 2 will receive a free mixed reality update. What does it consist of? Using the high-definition color pass-through and the depth sensor of Quest 3, this update transforms your real environment into an operational field where you can carry on stealth missions. The beauty of this update that I am already testing, oh my god, no, cancel the last part, cancel, is that the play area grows based on the actual availability of your space, whether it's a single room or your entire house. Terrorists will use tables and other cover in the room, mines will move on the walls, weapons and other objects will be placed on your chairs, on your stovetops, shelves. Digital load states that although the stealth mission will be playable on a Quest 2 and Quest Pro, they were actually designed for Quest 3, and it's obvious. No, sorry, it will be obvious. Or will it be obvious when it will come? I don't know. If you haven't purchased the Espire 2 yet, you can take advantage of it using my referral link you find in the description and get with a 55% discount on Quest. And we stay with digital load because after years without seeing an update for Espire 1 on PC, it is now brought up to par with the Quest version. Even graphically, the Quest version has surpassed the PC version, and now the gap has been closed. Even though graphically Espire 1 is not among the best VR games, it has a fun and well-implemented gameplay. The game is clearly inspired by Metal Gear Solid, and stealth action is the focus of this game, which can be completed without firing a single shot. If you never played it, you can take advantage of it using my referral link you find in the description to get it with a 55% discount, and I remind you that it's cross-buy, so you buy it once and you have both versions. And starting from October 9, the doors of the Steam Fest will open, and for this event you can try out demos such as Bootstrap Island, which I showed you in some content and in a live streaming last week, and the demo of Demeo Battles, but with a limitation, so to speak. This is the demo of the flat version of the game, so no VR demo. But what is Demeo Battle? It's a spin-off of the original chapter that shifts from cooperative gameplay to focus on PvP. There will be 1 versus 1 matches that take quite some time, or 2 versus 2 matches that can be completed in about 20 minutes. The turn-based gameplay with dice rolling, use of cards, and special abilities of various characters remain, and it also offers 10 new maps. The release of Demeo Battles is scheduled for November 9th on Quest, with mixed reality support, while the PCVR version will have crossplay support with the flat PC version. I mentioned early the improved version of some games on Quest 3, and I wanted to focus in particular on Red Matter 2 for several reasons. First of all, I'm already testing it since day 7, thanks to my friendship with the guys of Vertical Robot, who stepped in to speed up the delivery of my order, and on the afternoon of the October 7, I received my Quest 3. But why did they do this? Because they wanted me to try the improved version of Red Matter 2 on Quest 3, and we are finally on the console quality, guys. Shadow filters and texture quality at console level. And I can confirm it to you, having also tested the improved version for PSVR 2. Then we have an isotropic filter that increased sharpness, improved LOD mesh, adaptable frame rate from 72 to 90 Hz, and at the moment, the only thing that differs from the PSVR 2 version is that on the latter, the frame rate is native at 120 Hz and is more pronounced bloom effect. I remind you that on October 5th, Red Matter 1 was released on PSVR 2 in an improved version, and for the occasion, my Italian translation was added to the first chapter for all the platforms. If you want to buy the 2 chapters, you can do so using my referral links, getting a 25% discount. And for the first chapter, you will have both the PC and the standalone version since it's cross-buy. Another noteworthy improved version is Golf Plus. I've been playing the game for a long time, and at that time I bought it, my choice fell on this one because it has much more realistic and precise game mechanics than Golf 5, especially regarding the effects that can be applied to the ball and much more. The only reason I will have preferred Golf 5 is for the graphics, significantly better than Golf Plus. With the release of the improved version for Quest 3 on October 12, I don't think the gap between the two games has been filled, but I believe Golf Plus has received the extra touch of realism that make it even more enjoyable. The release of this version is scheduled for October 12, and if you like golf, you can purchase Golf Plus with a 25% discount using my referral link, and in this case too, it's cross-buy, so you buy it once and you have both versions, PC and standalone. Well, that's it for this week. Let's discuss in the comment the topics covered, support the channel using the Super Thanks button, or by using my Amazon links for your purchase, or the purchase of MetaQuest 3, and let me receive a small commission, but with no additional cost for you. Thanks for watching all the way through, like, subscribe, and keep following me. That's it from Ben. Till next time, see you soon, Riff Raff.